On this episode, we're going to dive into one of the hottest topics today facing aspiring goalies, and that is prospect camps. What are these all about? What is the real truth behind these prospect camps? And we're also talk about who these kinds of camps are designed for and how you can take advantage of these opportunities. So stick around and you'll find out.
This is the dark side of the Mask Podcast, a Goalies Matter production. This podcast will give you an inside look behind the mask, both the physical one worn by goalies and the emotional one we use to hide our burdens we carry. We'll address the issues affecting goalies' mental health and help you see the light. We want you to know that you are not alone in this fight. So let's fight this battle together.
Welcome to the Dark Side of the Mask Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Giggs, and today we're going to dive into the world of prospect camps. And we're going to find out what is the real truth behind these camps. Who are these camps best suited for, and what can you take away from these camps if you have the opportunity to attend one of these? I believe, and I know this is a very touchy subject for many, so I promise I will tread lightly. But I also want to give you the honest truth behind these. It's not the end of the world if you don't attend one of these prospect camps, but it could be the start of something bigger. So anyway, so enough setting this thing up. Let's just get after it. Lacrosse prospect camps. There are many kids these days getting ready to begin their recruiting journey, primarily sophomores and juniors in high school. So aspiring kids should be preparing their recruiting packages to send to college coaches prior to the summer tournament season, because the summer is prime time for college coaches to see kids perform at tournaments and take notes so that when the fall comes, they know who to send invites out to regarding who they want to see on campus at their prospect camps. However, that's a big however, the one place where you will not see college coaches is at youth tournaments and or tournaments loaded with freshmen. So if you are one of these kids or have a kid who plays youth lacrosse, you can breathe a sigh of relief for now, but your time will come. But this is still good information that you can come back to later on and replay this when your kid eventually hits the recruiting journey. Now, for those who are thinking about attending one of these or many prospect camps, they can definitely wreak havoc on a kid's mental health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. In fact, just the idea of these prospect camps can drive goalies or any lacrosse player or any student athlete crazy, questioning, should I or shouldn't I attend? Or is this real or not? And then they stress over the fact that if they don't attend one of these prospect camps, they won't get recruited by that program and maybe lose out on a perfectly good opportunity. So, before y'all freak out and or have a panic attack about just the idea of these prospect camps, relax and let me discuss the real truth behind these prospect camps. Now, again, I've said this in past episodes. Understand this. These aren't 100% actual facts, but over 26 plus years of being in the business as a coach, as a college coach, as a recruiter, as a goalie coach, and as a goalie, on top of my playing experience, there are a lot of similarities or consistencies that haven't changed much. I mean, first and foremost, there were no such thing as prospect camps back when I was playing, back in the 90s. There were no such thing as recruiting tournaments back in the 90s or 80s or beyond. Only around the millennium did these camps actually start to come about for both recruiting camps and for prospect camps. So again, I've said it before. These are my opinions. They're nobody else's but mine. If I am wrong on any of these, prove it to me and let's talk about it. So for those who want to get into the nitty gritty about these prospect camps, I have about, let me see here. I got about 6 facts about these prospect camps. All of these are contributing factors to the stress that kids face on a daily basis when it comes to understanding prospect camps. I have been into the Lax Goalie Rat Forum plenty of times. I have seen a number of comments and posts from parents about, I have a 2027 goalie, I have a 2028 goalie who got an invite for a prospect camp. Should I or shouldn't I attend? I have also seen, we're talking, this is the year of 2026, for those who may be listening to this, later in the years. This is year 2026. And there are parents in these forums who start off, I have a 2031 goalie. What should he be doing to prepare for his recruiting journey right now? Or he got an invite for a prospect camp. Are you kidding me, my friend? He's not even in high school. He doesn't even know what he wants to do yet. Why are we worrying about the future that's 6-7 years down the road, bro? Calm the fuck down. Let the kid play and have some fun and gain some experience. Worry about recruiting when the time comes. That is, when you become a sophomore in high school or a junior. So let's get into some of these factors about what really affects stress among goalies or players in general. The number one, and I can tell you this from experience, because when I coached at the University of Michigan, it was a club team. And again, we don't get a ton of money from the university. I mean, we're lucky to get any money at all. And a lot of it was pay to play, which most club teams do. It's pay to play. Dues can range from $1,200 to as much as $5,000, pending the program, pending the division, and pending history. I'm not going to get into that right now. We kind of talked about that before. College, NCAA versus playing club ball. You can go back to that episode and listen to my reasons there. But I can tell you this, across the board, whether you are a club coach or a varsity coach, this is not the greatest salary you can ever make. No coach in lacrosse is going to start off making $90,000 to $100,000 a year, especially in lacrosse. It's a non-revenue making sport for most. So you won't be making the big bucks, but you get a lot of perks and benefits out of it. Don't get me wrong. As a club coach, there are really not a whole lot of financial perks whatsoever because, again, you'll be lucky if you make $500 at the end of the year. But what I do know is when I did get paid, it came from what we had. We did winter clinics at the University of Michigan. I didn't know anything about that. I thought it was more of a community-driven event. I didn't know till later on what they were really designed for. Let me take you back a little bit. When I first attended my first winter clinic as a coach at U of M, it was a 2-day ordeal. The first day was actually maybe it was a full day. College coaches came in on a Saturday, and we literally had a coaches clinic where coaches talked about certain aspects of the game. And then at night we had a social. And then the next day they were going to attend a winter clinic that we were putting on. Our players would show up. They would kind of help run the drills, assist in the drills, and the coaches would run the drills. Little did I know later on that the money we took in for these winter clinics, and we'd have a couple sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The morning would be for youth. The afternoon would be for high schoolers. At the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, we had made quite a bit of money, both from the coaches clinic and from the winter clinics. And at the time, I just thought, it's a great opportunity for kids come in and get work done with other coaches. What I didn't realize at first was that our head coach, John Paul, as well as the rest of our staff, was to walk around and monitor, but at the same time take notes of kids that you saw could be a potential player for us at University of Michigan. So we can kind of maybe start the early recruiting. And later on, at the end of the season, we'd get a card from Coach Paul, and we'd have a check in there, and there was money. Wow, I didn't think there was any money. Well, come to find out, the money came from the winter clinics. Fast forward to 2020, whatever, could be 2015, whenever these prospect camps started to come around. Because like I said, head coaches don't make a ton of money, maybe 50, 60, 70 grand, or way less. Again, I haven't seen what a coach's salary makes now these days. But the assistants don't come anywhere close to that. They may be lucky to make half of that, $18,000, $20,000, depending on experience, depending on where you've been, where you've come from, your knowledge. So your resume talks to your salary. So maybe you make a really good paycheck. But I can tell you this, no assistant coach is making $60,000, $70,000 a year. Maybe your top D1 programs in the country, but definitely not anyone out of the top 10. So how do you balance out their salary? Simple. Hold a prospect camp. Prospect camps really are, in fact, money makers, or some will call it money grabs. Again, you make that determination for the program. Simple enough. They are money makers for the program or money grabs for the program. And sometimes, now I haven't been to one. I have students who have gone and they have come back and they have told me, yeah, the head coach was never there. The assistants were, but the head coach was never there. But I've had some students who have come back and admitted, yes, the entire coaching staff was there. They greeted you, they checked you in, and then they watched you the entire time you were there. You had the opportunity to have a meet and greet with the coaching staff, and you had a chance to walk around on campus, all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, the money that comes in is going into the pockets of the staff, assistant coaches, and any other staff they have on hand. Could be social media, could be statisticians, could be student managers, you name it. That money is going to go towards something. One way or the other, it's going to benefit somebody in that program. So understand that part, that it is a money grab, no doubt about it. Because now prospect camps are all about getting kids on campus so that they can do that. My number 2 fact about these prospect camps, and this is the one that a lot of questions have come about that I've seen in the Lax Goalie Rat forums. If a coach attended a tournament, they receive a printout of all emails of participants in that tournament, no matter the grad year. So if it's a tournament on the East Coast and they're allowing kids from, and again, this is 2026, kids from the 2027 graduating year all the way down to 2029, maybe 2030, they're going to get a printout of all of the emails. And that will go to all the coaches. From that list, you can either get the smart coaches who know how to filter out and get all the ones of the grad years of the kids that they're looking for and send emails to those individuals because that's who they want to focus on. Or they're the dumbasses and they're going to send it to everybody on the list, mass distribution list, blind copy, BCC. They're going to send it out to the entire tournament list of attendees. No doubt about it. These, by far, are not personal emails. Nowhere close. Some of them even say unsubscribe at the bottom of the email. These are not personal emails. More than half the time, if not 80% of the time, these coaches have no clue who they're sending these emails to for invites for prospect camps. Understand that. They have no clue. They could send them out to 5,000 people, and as soon as they reach the max capacity, then they're going to shut it down. So you could get 2,000 kids that want to all send back their information and their money. I would love to see a coach that sees 2,000 kids at a prospect camp. Pretty sure that's not happening. They're not all going to be attending the prospect camp. It's usually a first come, first serve. Understand that. So if you get one of these invites and you want to go, it's a first come, first serve. If they have a max capacity list of, hey, we don't want to take any more than 100, then after 100, anybody after that, you're out of luck. However, they also have to monitor what positions they're trying to fill. So if they're trying to fill middies, they might ask more middies to show up. Sometimes they have no position for goalies, but they need goalies anyways, so they may limit to like 4, maybe 6 goalies at tops. So you have to be wary about what they open up. And goalie spots, without a doubt, fill up super fast. So if you're a goalie listening and you want to attend one of these prospect camps, get in early and get it done. And don't hesitate. But let me get through the rest of my podcast before you make any decisions anytime soon. So number 4 on my list is that, again, coaches really have no clue who you are when you show up on campus. They might know who you are because they may have recruited you and they may have actually sent you an email. But to them, at the end of the day, you're really just a number. You brought them money and you're a number for their prospect camp. Now, yes, they will have all your information. And yes, if they want to recruit you, they will. If they're paying attention, if the coaches are taking notes at their own prospect camp, and they're not just pulling money in and having a bunch of student managers tracking all that. So be wary of that when you show up to campus. Former students that I know were probably at best D2 caliber players, and they're being invited to attend top-notch D1 programs. Girls have attended Northwest programs, Syracuse, Duke, UNC, maybe Rutgers. I've had guys attend Fairfield, Robert Morris, UD Mercy, not like some of the best programs out there, but, they are pretty decent out there. Penn State, Ohio State. Then you're talking maybe maybe Loyola, Johns Hopkins. But they have no intention of recruiting you. So kind of keep that in mind, right? Just because their invite for a prospect camp doesn't mean they're recruiting you. Now, I'm hoping some of those programs, those coaches at some of those programs are a little bit smarter than just sending out a mass email to 5,000 kids because they're pretty particular about who they're looking for, especially any program in the top 20. They're going to be very deliberate about who they're going to send invites to. I mean, if you get one from Northwestern, or if you get one from Cortland, or from Cornell, or you get one from Syracuse, or Brown, whatever, top programs are these days, Maryland, they may be looking at you, or they may not. Again, they may just be sending out mass emails. So be cautious of that. The one thing that I also don't like about these prospect camps is that they provide a lot of false hope. Some kids are getting really, really excited about these invites, when in actuality, we go back to number 1 on this list. These are really designed to be money grabs, money makers for the program. So just because you got an invite doesn't necessarily mean, just like what I just said, doesn't mean that they're actually recruiting you. If they're truly actually recruiting you, they will probably send you a personal email soon afterwards, or setting you up to the prospect camp invite when they actually send one out. Hey, we saw you at camp this summer. Really thought you looked good. We really would like to see you on campus. We have a prospect camp coming up in a couple of months, and we'd love to have you there. We're going to be sending out an invite here next week. Be on the lookout for it. Please fill that out and send it back. Now, that there isn't personal email, or it could have been a phone conversation, and therefore that they want you on campus. They want to see you at the prospect camp, and they'll probably be in attendance watching you play. So be careful about when you get these invites. They're not for everybody. They can provide you a lot of false hope. Trust me, I'm gonna straighten this all out here shortly. I'm getting you through the facts of the real truth behind these prospect camps. And the last thing that I have regarding prospect camps and the contributing factors to stress is that you could get 15 invites to prospect camps and you're deciding which ones to go to. Understand this. Okay, understand this. If you're in a non-hotbed, you're going to have to travel. If you live in Maryland, you probably have 10 schools within an hour drive that you can probably attend to. If it's drivable and you want to attend it, go for it, man. I'm not going to stop you. Have a blast. Enjoy. But living here in Michigan and kids getting invites from all over the country, could be Denver, could be Florida State, could be University of Florida, could be St. Leo, could be Mercer, could be Clemson, could be UNC. Those aren't a couple hour drives. Those are maybe 1, 2, 3 hour flights sometimes. That cost will rise dramatically. So not only are you riding the hopes that you could possibly be, invited to these prospect camps, you have to pay the registration cost. You have to pay to travel there, whether it be, if you're going to drive it, great. That costs gas. That's gas money. If you're going to fly, that ain't cheap. I can tell you that right now, unless you get a really, really great deal. Then you got to stay somewhere when you're there, whether it's 1 night, 2 nights, that's a cost. And then anything you do in and around that area. Again, if it's drivable, great, go for it. If it's not drivable, start to question what's important to you. Is it really value added to attend if you don't have an interest in that school? I know when I came through, I really wanted to play D1 lacrosse, maybe. I got recruited by Michigan State and Ohio State back then when Michigan State had a varsity program. But when I stepped on campus, I just wasn't feeling a large school environment or atmosphere. And I didn't even visit Ohio State because it would have been the same thing. So I knew I would rather have a smaller school because I thrive better in a smaller school environment or a small school environment. I went to a high school that only had, at the time, 600 kids. So I'm used to small schools, small class sizes, things like that. Would it be really value added to attend a school that you don't want to go to because it's too big for you and you'd rather have something small, or vice versa? You stepped on campus and you realize, holy crap, I can see the other end of campus and just from one building, right? And you want to be like, I want more things to do. I want big, large scale football. I want, things to do on the weekends, stuff like that. So that all comes into consideration. We haven't talked about the recruiting journey yet, but that all comes into play later on. So now let me jump into who I think should attend these prospect camps. So what you just heard was the contributing factors as to why kids stress about, and parents stress about, these prospect camps. So let's dive into who these prospect camps are. And instead of bashing the truth about prospect camps, let's talk about who should be attending these prospect camps. Because again, prospect camps do have a lot of value integrated in these camps. There is, okay? Number one, who should be attending? Obviously sophomores, juniors, and maybe seniors, pending the time frame. Some of these schools like to do these camps in the fall. Some like to do them in the spring for some strange reason before the season begins. Some will even hold a prospect camp during the summer. So it's all dependent, but it shouldn't be rising freshmen, kids currently as a freshman. It should be for those who are in sophomore year and above, juniors, seniors, okay? Those are the ones who should be attending these, and nobody less. I wouldn't recommend it, because if I'm a head coach at a D1 program, why would I be looking at freshmen? I can't talk to them. I can't recruit them. All I can do is watch them play, maybe take a note or two, but I can't really do anything else. Now, sophomores are the potential who are on the radar, so that junior year comes, we can start the communication process, and we can start having real conversations about it, about their potential future with us. Know who these are for. Also, kids, another ones who should attend are kids who might be actually interested in the actual school for reasons other than lacrosse. Let me say that again. Kids interested in the actual school for other reasons than lacrosse. If you want to go to the XYZ school and they have a great nursing program, one of the best nursing programs in the country, then see what you can do to think about nursing and then the lacrosse program. Same thing with Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins is like one of the best countries in the country, or one of the best medical schools in the country, right? But what people don't really understand is lacrosse is a D1 sport, yes. The rest of the school is a D3 school. I know this from facts. Their athletic program is D3 with exception to the lacrosse program. Men's and women's are both Division 1. So if you're going to go to Johns Hopkins, understand it's not just for lacrosse. Most of those kids there are going into the medical school. So again, it takes a little bit of intelligence to understand that, but you want to be interested, because what happens when you get there and you tear an ACL or have the trifecta, the MCL, ACL, and I think was it ACL, MCL? There's another one. Anyways, if you end up ruining your knee, it's career ending for lacrosse. Are you going to enjoy your time there at that school? Are you going to go there and do what you're supposed to have done in the first place, get a degree, and then play lacrosse? I'm not even going to talk the transfer portal. That's not even coming up today. But understand that if you go to that school, you're going there for the right reasons and not just for lacrosse, not just for the coaches. You're going there because you want to get a degree from there, because they're one of the better schools. It's got your major. Don't go there if they don't have your major. If you have an interest in film studies and they're an engineering school, guarantee you it's not going to be the best film school in the country. You may want to look into another program, okay? If you're engineering and you're going to a school that's primarily in art, also it doesn't line up. Find a school that has engineering. So understand what you want to get into, because college is not life. It will end at some point, whether it's in high school, whether it's in college, or you're graduating college and that's the end of the road. What are you going to do post-college? Third thing of who should attend. Those who want to gain a competitive or want to experience a college level competition. Those who can compete with other college players, college type players. If you want to up your game, and I know it can be pricey to do, but if you're a sophomore and you want to get some experience with playing with kids that are at a high level, attend one of those camps, because all those kids there are primarily they have their minds set on playing high level lacrosse, high caliber lacrosse. So go to that campus, go to that camp, and do the best that you can, and see if you can hang with them. If you can hang just as well as everybody else, you can start looking around and say, hey, I can compete with these people. I can compete with this girl. I can compete with these guys. Absolutely, it's a great measuring stick. Or if you're just completely blown away by speed, by talent, and you feel like this is not your jam, then you'll know. If you can't hang, that's okay. Find a different school. Maybe you went to a D1 prospect camp and you couldn't hang, but you went to a D3 prospect camp and you're like, this is more of my jam. This is more of my speed. I can hang with these guys. I can deal with this. This is a lot easier. Then there you go. Try prospect camps at different levels so you can get that experience, so you know that when the time comes to get recruited, you now know what kind of schools that you're looking for. I don't want D1. I want D2. Or I don't want D2. I love the college campuses at D3 because they're smaller, they're private, maybe they're cute, maybe they got good atmospheres, whatever the case may be, good location, gives you the opportunity. But don't waste your money on prospect camps if you're just going to go there with hopes that you might get recruited. Now, how can you take advantage of these prospect camp opportunities? Well, here is where the good comes out of all these prospect camps. You ready for this one? So here we go. I got a longer list here than other things. So by going to a prospect camp, you might actually get on the coach's radar. You might actually surprise them. So instead of going to a tournament where there's 400 kids that they're looking at and they're only looking at a certain number, if you get invited to the prospect camp and you go to the prospect camp, you go from 400 to 500 kids down to maybe 100. Coaches can now see you in a better light. Instead of being surrounded by 30 goalies at a tournament, now they can see you among 4 or 6 goalies. So it helps get you on the coach's radar. Absolutely. Right? They may not have thought of you before, but now they will. Take opportunity. Take advantage of the opportunity to get a tour of the campus, right? Sometimes you may not be able to get back there. If I live in Michigan and I was down in Florida, I can't just drive to Florida on a whim. I mean, I could drive to Ohio on a whim. I can drive to Indiana, Wisconsin on a whim. I can go visit Notre Dame in 2 hours and make it back in a day. Anytime I want to. But if you're traveling across the country, let's say you can go play in Denver, right? I'm not going to hop, skip, and jump over there. I'll take a flight, take advantage of the opportunity, go to the prospect camp, get your tour on campus, see what you want to see. Maybe take a personal tour on your own. Maybe you get a tour with the admissions, but it's a way for you to take advantage and get that tour around campus so you can see what the school is all about. So take advantage of that opportunity. When you're there, we talked about getting on the coach's radar. If you have an opportunity, meet the coaches, introduce yourself, and have a conversation about potentially playing there in the future. What are they looking for? Especially if you're a junior, right? Who are you taking for goalies? How many positions do you have available at the goalie position, right? What kind of goalie program do you have? Do you have somebody that works with the goalies? Or are we just supposed to come in there and just do our thing, right? What kind of personal one-on-one training do we get as goalies? These are all great things to ask questions, have conversations with those coaches, and really kind of make a mark with them, right? Hey, I'm really intrigued with your program. I love the fact that the school is, look, even if I don't play a lot, the school has a lot to offer for me. So you can play me or not play me. If I come here, I can tell you I love this school regardless, and I can be, the heart and soul of the team, whether you play me or not. So those are all great things to have. And I just talked about, talk about coming back for a personal visit if you're really interested. Right? I really love the school. This camp gave me an opportunity to come out here and see it. I would love to come here during the season, maybe hang out with the team, stay overnight, and, hang out with the guys a little bit and see if I gel well with them. Okay, at that point, then the coach would have to say, well, and especially if it's a D1 or D2 school, they will let you know if it's an official or unofficial visit. This is I haven't gotten on the recruiting trail yet, but if you're registered with the NCAA clearinghouse. Well, now it's the NCAA eligibility center, I think is what it's called. Official visit, that school, if it's a D1 or D2 program, they can pay for your trip to come in, stay with the guys, get a tour around campus. You maybe get a chance to practice with them or watch a practice or watch a game, hang out with them, get a tour, and enjoy college life with the guys. And then they'll pay for your return trip back to wherever you're from. If it's unofficial, it's on your own dime. You got to go and see it for yourself. But visiting the schools are a big thing. But take advantage of the opportunity when you go for the prospect camp to see as much as you possibly can. And then if you're interested and they're interested in you, then set up a personal trip and then work that through the coach. And then while you're there, tour the area of the school. Not just the school itself, but the school area. Is it a nice area? I know my sister went to John Carroll University, and I absolutely loved that campus, and I love the surrounding areas in Cleveland. So for those who are in the Cleveland area or Ohio area, you understand John Carroll is a really awesome area. At least I know I have, and I love Cleveland. Go figure, right? I'm from Michigan, and I love the Cleveland area. But, having my sister down there was a great opportunity for me to visit the campus and see things. At that time, funny as it is, they didn't have a lacrosse program, right? I got into college and then finally found out that, yes, they started a club program, and now they're a prominent D3 program. So that's pretty awesome. But it's one of those schools. I went down to Lynchburg, Virginia to go visit Lynchburg College. Great area, but the outskirts, not really in my jam. There wasn't a whole lot there, but, it was cool. I mean, I get it. The town shuts down with a half-inch of snow on the ground. So pretty convenient, I guess. But coming from Michigan, we're used to the snow. But yeah, tour the area that the school is located in. Maybe it's a big town, maybe it's a small town. I know Vanderbilt's like right in the heart of Nashville. Maybe you don't want a really busy surrounding area. Maybe you want something a little more quiet out in the countryside. Where I went to school at Alfred University in Alfred, New York, that was countryside. Like you could literally see the cows on the hill across from my dorm room. So there goes a small space. But I visited Ithaca and I visited Cornell on my recruiting trip, and it's a valley. Ithaca's a valley. Ithaca, New York is a valley. On one side's Ithaca and the other side is Cornell. So you can almost see each other across the way. Again, big town, 2 schools separated by a valley in a downtown area. So tour the area and see if that area works well for you. And last but not least, one of the things that you can take advantage of is, hey, they're bringing you in for a prospect camp. See if you can get a chance to get in with the admissions director. It doesn't hurt to set up an interview and see if you can get in based on just your merit, based on your academics, based on a conversation. Because that was with me with Alfred. I got to go in, had an interview with them, and they said, yeah, I think you'd fit in really well with here, and we'd love to have you here on campus. That was it. It's pretty simple. And we almost, and then pretty soon I got I wouldn't say an offer, but they did offer me a financial package that I couldn't really turn down. So I ended up going to Alfred. So that was a big play in my lacrosse decision, but that's for another day. So we talked about, the factors that cause stress among young student athletes, young goalies, when it comes to prospect camps. And the same parents have the same concerns, and I get that, right? But we also address who should be attending these, so that if you're an 8th grader, you shouldn't be thinking about what prospect camp you should be attending, because just play and have fun and keep getting better. But there are ways to take advantage of these opportunities when you go to these prospect camps. It's not all about a moneymaker, but you can get some value out of your trip. So take advantage of the opportunities when you can. But in my personal opinion, I'm not a huge fan of prospect camps. Again, personal opinion here. It's not the norm, but I'm not a fan of prospect camps for a lot of the reasons I mentioned earlier. But if the school falls on your list or has a very strong possibility of being one of your favorite schools, then go to the camp. Otherwise, don't waste your money. I tell my students all the time, if this school racks up with what you're looking for out of a school, if this is a school that you could see yourself playing at, if this is a school that has what you want to prepare you for the future or a career post-college, post-graduation, then entertain the idea of going to that prospect camp. Don't just go because you can go see the campus, Oh, Maryland recruited me. This is awesome. I can go see Maryland. I can do all this. This is like the founding place of like college lacrosse. This is great. It's a waste of money to go there for me for coming from Michigan if I have no intention of going to Maryland, right? If my values, my beliefs, and what I want lies in a D3 school out of the Midwest, then that's where I want to focus. And I guarantee you, D3 schools are also doing prospect camps. So that's where I want to focus my energy. If I get an invite from there, or here's another thing, you don't have to wait for an invite. Most of them are advertising it left and right on social media, or you go to their website. I really want to go to Baldwin Wallace out of Cleveland, Ohio. They may not send me an invite, but you know what? I can go to their website and I bet you I can find a way to get invited to their camp. I can just fill out a form online, pay my dues, and go. And I can drive to it. Perfect. Then I can go, right? So don't attend prospect camps just because you got an invite. If you think you can play there, if you have a huge interest in that school, then go. I know I have a student right now that could be playing at Northwestern. And I looked recently at their Northwestern Instagram page. There was a picture in the fall. There are 6 goalies. Does a goalie from Michigan think they have a great opportunity to play there? Maybe. Maybe not. 6 goalies. You have to compete against 6 goalies at one of the best premier programs in the country for women's D1 lacrosse. That is a tough task. A very tough task. So you just got to be careful about who they have, right? I know for a fact they're not really recruiting me. So why would I go? Do your research. Do your research before you think about attending one of these camps. That will make your decision even easier whether to say no or not. Now, how can we overcome the stress? How can we get through this so that it doesn't affect us mentally, physically, emotionally? And that is, first, understand that the real truth behind these things. The real truth, again, like I mentioned earlier, it is a money grab. It is a money maker for the program, for the support staff, right? So you have to understand that is their number one priority. I'll be honest with you. And yeah, if you're a college coach listening to this and you want to disagree with me, I'm here. I'm all ears. Let's get out here and we'll have a conversation. Let's talk about this, okay? But let's be real. A lot of it is to make money for the program and for whatever reason. And whatever they do with it, they do with it. It could be salaries. It could be, something they need for a trip, road trip. It could be bags. Who knows? Whatever. Next thing, when you get these emails from these coaches to attend their prospect camps, treat it like junk mail. If they don't interest you, delete them. Throw it away. Throw them in the trash. Throw them in the cylindrical waste recycle. Whatever. Treat them like junk mail. If it interests you, and I mean interest you, not because, oh my gosh, like I play at XYZ high school in the middle of nowhere in upstate Wisconsin and Syracuse wants me. How do they know me? right? Let's be real. I'm not going to go there. Just junk it. I mentioned it earlier. If they are truly interested in you, they will follow up with a real email, or maybe they set you up with a real email, and it will be personal, and your email will not say unsubscribe. So when you read your emails, read the whole thing, even the fine print. On a personal email, there shouldn't be any fine print. The only fine print you might get is something that says, on behalf of the University of, whatever it is, and this is the address. But if it seems personal to you, then follow up with them. Follow up and make sure it's a real email. Say, hey, coach, thank you for the invite. I would love to attend your prospect camp. I'm going to fill it out, attend it, because I'd like to get on campus, and I'd like to have a conversation with you if that's possible afterwards. And then if they respond back relatively quick, an appropriate amount of time, then you'll know it's a personal email and they're excited to have you come. But if there is no follow-up email and you don't get the warm and fuzzy from an email from them, it's probably not real. Okay? So don't put a lot of hope into them unless you can really sense it, and you'll know it. Trust me, you will. Once you receive an invite, like I said, reach out to them, thank them, especially if it's a school you're interested in, and ask them about the potential of being a fellow whatever, because you can send a personal email right back thanking them and see if it's real. But then listen to the next thing. If you're not interested in the school at all, treat it like trash. Again, if they like to see you, they will send you an additional email and it'll become more personal. But you're not going to upset them if you don't attend the prospect camp. I'm going to say it again. You will not upset them if you don't attend the prospect camp, because at the end of the day, it's a moneymaker, and and you're just a number, and they're going to take whoever they can for their prospect camp. Make sure the prospect camp makes sense to you. In other words, does it align with what you were looking for in a school? So if you get an invite, does the school, you have to think academics first. Does it align with what you're looking for in a school? Demographics, location, size, other activities, opportunities, placement at post-graduation, grad school, extra year opportunities. Look into it. If it doesn't answer any of the things that are on your list, again, trash the invite. You didn't upset anybody. Move on to the next. With every invite that you're interested in, learn how you can take advantage of those opportunities if you want to attend one of them. And I mentioned some of the ways that you can take advantage of them. Again, ask important questions. If you want to keep the stress down, ask them the questions that are your dire needs, that are burning inside of you. Like, I want to know how many goalies you're going to take. How many goalies are you recruiting? Do you have a goalie coach? Good questions. Number one, how do they work with their goalies? I put that as my number one question for goalies to ask. How do you work with your goalies? Those are important questions, because now you want to hold them accountable for their invite to you. Make sure you follow up and follow through and find out if they're truly interested in you and put it on them. I just talked about accountability. If they're really interested in you, reach out back to them and you ask them, hey, thank you for the invite. I have a couple questions. Can I ask them? Or do you have time for a phone call? Or should I shoot you a second email? Because you received an email, can you see yourself at that school? Since you received the invite, have you done the research? Or are you going to do the research? Because you're not going to waste your time if they're not interested in you. Do the research, look into the school, see what they have to offer. And I've had kids that have been recruited by schools that were never on their list, that were never in their demographic, and they entertained it, they researched it, and they realized, hey, this isn't so bad. I never even thought about this school. I could definitely probably see myself there, but I need to go do a visit. So maybe I'll go to the prospect camp, and then follow up with, what are your chances of or opportunities of recruiting me? What are your opportunities? Are there more opportunities? Are there chances? Maybe they don't. So anyways, I'm going to kind of wrap this up a little bit, because the key thing is you shouldn't be getting all worked up over a prospect camp invite. Again, prospect camps are moneymakers. Talk to any parent. If you're in the Lax Goalie Rat forums, they will tell you some are moneymakers, but take advantage of those opportunities when you have them. Get out there, see the school, see the coaches, and do your best and use it as a measuring stick. At the end of the day, you're still just a number to them, and it's money for the staff. But there is always a possibility that you could end up as an official recruit. So I'm not saying disregard all prospect camps, okay? But only go to the prospect camps that you are interested in the school, not with the invite. Does that make sense? Just because you got an invite doesn't mean they're actually recruiting you. But if you're really interested in that school, then take advantage of the opportunity and go to the prospect camp. Remember, these prospect camps cost a lot of money, right? I haven't seen one recently, but think about the registration cost, the travel cost, the lodging cost if you have to go around, if you have to go overnight, getting there, maybe you have to fly. It's not cheap, but it's worth it if you have an opportunity to truly be seen and you can truly see yourself playing at that school. So take advantage of it. Again, these aren't all the answers. These aren't all the facts, right? A lot of these are my opinions based on information that I have received from my students, being a coach, talking to fellow coaches, coaching colleagues. These are my opinions based off of all that data. And this is the conclusion that I've come up with. If you disagree with any of them, it's okay to agree to disagree. But if you're offended by anything I said, email me at goaliesmatter@gmail.com. Let's have a conversation about this. I'm here for you. Prove me wrong. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. And hopefully we were able to give you a better understanding of the concept of these prospect camps. Everyone holds them, and not everyone is going to recruit you. But if the school interests you beyond lacrosse, then definitely entertain the idea of attending the school's prospect camp. There is no need, and I will repeat that, there's absolutely no need to stress over not attending a prospect camp. Kids for years have been recruited without going to a prospect camp in highly visible recruiting tournaments. Just to throw that out there. You are not alone in the struggle, but we still got you. And if you need to talk to someone, we'll be glad to help you right here at Goalies Matter. Again, email us, goaliesmatter@gmail.com. I will be glad to have a conversation with you. I will gladly help you out with your stressors about these damn prospect camps. Again, it can be good or it can be bad. You'll get a ton of them, but understand this: it's just a mass email. 90%, if not more, it's a mass email. The true ones will send you a follow-up email, so keep that in mind. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. The recruiting process to include these prospect camps can be very stressful, but it shouldn't be. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable, but it can be financially stressful at the same time. In the end, you will go where you feel wanted and supported. I'm going to repeat that again. At the end of the day, you should be going where you feel wanted and supported. So in the end, make the most of your recruiting journey while you can. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. So let's find the good in our lives, and let's be the best humans we can be. Thank you. We're out.